All right, we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 14th, or excuse me, the October 21st Litchfield Budget Committee meeting. Time is now 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order, and we'll get started tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we get started with our agenda, we do have a remote participant this evening. As with past meetings, we need to vote to allow remote participation. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Ms. Douglas, a second by Mr. Sun. Discussion. We'll do a roll call vote for the duration of tonight's voting. Mr. Sun?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
All right, we have a vote of 7-0-0. Next up, Mr. Hayes, if you could just share your reason for being remote this evening and if there's anyone joining you in your room.
Yes, concerns about COVID-19 since I have not been vaccinated and I am by myself.
All right, sir, thank you very much. Moving forward in our agenda, next up is public input. Would anybody care to address the board tonight during public input session? I see nobody coming and nobody running in the room. We'll close public input. As is typical, we'll have a second round of public input this evening at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. Next up, we have review, additions, changes to tonight's agenda. Anything from the committee? Nope. All right, we'll close that and move into correspondence this evening. So I do have a summary here for correspondence. I have circulated this in advance to Mr. Sullivan, our minute taker, but I'll read it into the minutes as well. As with past weeks, thank you very much to the town for the prompt circulation of town budget reports. We received that on Friday the 15th. On the 16th, the minutes from Mr. Sullivan were shared, which were forwarded to the committee. On October 18th, we have an update from Chief Freitzel on propane heating costs, which were forwarded to the committee. On October 18th, we have a minor word edit submitted by Mr. Hayes that was amended in our minutes. On October 20th, we have circulation of the October 28th tentative budget committee meeting agenda. So next week, if we do not make it through voting this evening on town, we agreed to have a meeting next week to conclude. On October 20th, Town Administrator Brown sent an adjusted amount on the fire station propane, which was forwarded to the committee. On October 20th, there was the invitation from the superintendent's office to join both the November 4th and November 8th school board budget meeting sessions, which are going to be at 6:30 starts at CHS. Just as a reminder, the November 8th session is on a Monday this year. October 20th, Mr. Hayes sent an email confirming remote participation for this evening. October 20th, we did receive the updated business administrator report last night from the school. Thank you for forwarding that over to us. That was forwarded to the budget committee first thing this morning. And then on a couple of hours ago, Town Administrator Brown circulated a few 6 or so budget revisions that we're going to review here momentarily before getting into voting. Any other correspondence amongst the committee members during the past week? Nope. Hearing, seeing none. We'll close correspondence. Next up, we do have the minutes that were sent for last week, October 14th. Has everyone had a chance to review them?
Yep.
Are we good to vote on them?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the amended.
Sure. Yes, that one.
We have a motion to approve the amended minutes. We have a second by Mrs. Harrison. Discussion. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Ms. Harrison. Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
All right. I have a vote of 9-0-0 for approval of our minutes. Great. Fantastic. Next up, we're going to get into kind of the meat of tonight's meeting, which is town business and town voting. We do not have the school on tonight's agenda. Focus on the voting lines and trying to get through as much as possible as we can achieve. But first and foremost, Mr. Brown, I'd like to turn it over to you. And perhaps you could start off with a summary of what you sent across and the 6 changes to the budget.
Sure. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I apologize for getting that out to you late today, but we were working on it all day. We received our unemployment, workers' comp, and property liability insurance rates. So we were updating that information. As you see in the memo, the results of the unemployment resulted in a $196 increase. The workers' compensation really surprised this year with some of the insurances. Health insurance and workers' comp are the two big ones that we're always focused on. But for whatever reason this year, they're holding their price. There'll be a $0 change. That's really good news. Our property liability and general insurance, there is a change there, which resulted in an increase of $9,273. And that could be a reason. I actually don't know why, but my assumption is there's a lot going on in the country and in the insurance business with just natural losses, fires, and floods. We also did add a new plow truck. We added 3 communication towers. I don't think that was a direct increase of the 10 grand, but we did add some stuff, and there's a lot going on in the country. And then the fire department, the propane fuel use, I apologize for the, miscommunication there between the chief and myself, but I know that there was information shared with you, and then I shared information. The purpose of mine, as I explained in the email, was really just to make sure we're consistent throughout the budget. And the spreadsheet that I've used for, calculating electric, propane, our diesel fuel, and unleaded is all driven by a 3-year average and a run rate. As we know, we caught that mistake in the fire department the last meeting because the first year we were under construction, which was not a realistic consumption. So that resulted, going back and looking at those numbers, resulted in a decrease of $3,926. The library has gone back and recalculated health and I think dental insurance. They had a couple of other things that came up during discussions with the budget committee, and their revision resulted in a $6,170 decrease in their budget. And the big one is debt. We went back and visited that. I talked to the Board of Selectmen. Originally, as you know, we were looking at reducing the 2022 debt payment by $67,000 using impact fees. When we presented that concept to the budget committee, I noticed that a couple of members were concerned about the long-term financial impacts. If we used all those funds, then what was the plan for 2023? What would be the plan in 2024? So I thought that was a good point. I went back, talked to the board. We adjusted the number, and we're only proposing to use $25,000 from the impact fee account. And I think with impact fees coming in every time we have houses built and other types of construction, we probably could reach into that impact fee account over the next 3 years, hopefully, and keep it pretty stable. So that's why you see that significant increase of $42,000. Overall, when you add up the additions and subtractions, it kind of ends up being, I guess, kind of a wash. But overall, we had an increase of $41,373.
Okay.
Troy, quick question on the impact fees.
Yes.
I assume that you guys have gone through and double checked to make sure that what we're going to defer for years 2 and 3, for example, none of those are going to expire, and then at that point go back to the taxpayer, right?
That's correct. So Karen just looked at that. And what year did you have?
March
for the
of
first?
2025.
Okay, perfect.
And I totally forgot the last line on this memo, which is probably the most important information to share with the board this evening, is the fact that revenue sharing, which is really the meal and rooms tax, the state made some changes to the methodology, and it's going to result in an additional $287,000 of revenue for the tax rate this year, 2021. So unfortunately, the way, when we put our budget together last year, we were actually anticipating that this revenue was going to be far less because of the pandemic and less people spending money. But what I understand happened at the state level is instead of calculating what their forecasts were and then taking a percentage of that and redistributing it throughout all the towns and cities. They've now changed their formula, so they're actually working on actual collections. And they're taking those actual collections, and 30% of them, as I understand, are then set aside and divvied up throughout all the communities. And that's the plan for at least the next couple of years. I mean, anytime the state is running out of revenues, whatever, this stuff's always subject to change, but pretty much locked in for 2021. I'm going to go set our tax rate here in a couple of weeks, and 2022.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it just
Really good.
helps offset all the stuff they downshifted over the past decade. It's
Yeah.
not really like, oh, yay. It's like, yeah, thanks for giving us our money back.
Do you anticipate that a lot of that will just roll over to next year to offset next year's tax rate?
No, as far as the state legislation is concerned, it was intended to be direct property tax relief. And
So where does it?
so it does work that way, because when we put our budget together last year, the voters approved it. We raised and appropriated X amount. We can't exceed that. Any revenues exceed what we had originally budgeted, will become like a surplus.
Going to the unassigned fund balance.
Yeah.
So that'll show up when we set rates this November. Okay.
Any day now, hopefully.
So should we also, when we get to revenues, add those funds into the projections for revenues?
I
are they
kind of misstated that. These revenues will be part of the tax rate setting. The state actually sets those revenues. They set the roadblock and the revenue sharing. So it will be direct tax relief. It will not be a surplus and roll into the unassigned fund balance.
Right. No, but
Incorrect for that statement.
so a couple of weeks ago when we were doing the budget, there was the comment that how do we review the revenues and are we using the right numbers? So I guess the question I would have then is, that's great for this year, but when we look for the budget that we're reviewing for next year, do we are those numbers included on the revenue side yet?
I have, yeah. So
Okay.
we basically have used, we changed the number for 2022
It's in the spreadsheet.
to the same number.
So it's the 636 is the revised number. Okay, awesome.
So the bottom line is, it really, as far as if you're watching tax cap and all that, it ends up being a wash, and it doesn't allow any more additional
Right.
new spending, because it cancels each other out.
No, I think that's great. Like,
And what happens is 2021, you get a direct tax reduction.
All right. Any questions on the changes presented? Next up on the agenda is moving into town voting, unless there's anything else on the town side that you'd like to present.
That's it.
Okay.
Good.
Do you want to start at the top and go through town meeting, town clerk, and just take it from there? What works for you?
Sure.
I know we have the police with us as well. Do you want to start there and get on with your evening? Does it matter? Doesn't matter? Okay.
I think I'll just click on the summary, and
Yep.
I'll just, and then you guys, so Board of Selectmen recommending for 2022, $145,102.
Yes. And so Board of Selectmen, we can do it this way, no problem, is 4130.1. And we were presented the budget with a bottom line right now, 145,102, which represents a $7,611 increase. Are there any motions on this particular line from the committee? Okay, hearing none, we can move to the next.
Do we vote on each one, or we vote at the end?
We're going to go through each budget as presented.
Yeah.
And then once the budget is presented, the committee then has the option to go through and make reductions or additions as you see fit to each line.
Okay.
Okay. We're not going to vote on the bottom line. We're going to save that until December,
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
right? Because there's likely going to be a few changes between now and then, I would suspect.
Okay.
Does that work?
So if no one makes a proposed change to a line item, we will not vote on it.
We can vote on the budget number
Okay.
of 145,102. The bottom line of 7 million, whatever that ends up being, we will not vote on. We will keep that bottom line number open. Okay. So Are we ready to vote on 145, 102?
Sure.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to vote.
So made.
We have a motion by Ms. Douglas. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. We have a second by Mr. Leary. Further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
All right, 145, 102 passes 9-0-0. Okay.
Town meeting, 01-4130-30. Selectmen proposed 12,700. This represents an increase of $3,684.
Yes, sir. Are there any motions?
Motion to approve or recommend.
We have a motion to approve 12,700, line 4130.30. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Sun. The motion was made by Mrs. Douglas. Any discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes.
Yes.
Douglas, Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Stevens, Mr. Barca,
Yes.
and Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
All right, town meeting passed 9-0-0.
Town clerk, account number 01-4140-10. Selectmen proposing $134,922, represents an increase of $11,175.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there discussion?
Motion to
motions?
approve.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion to amend.
All right,
Okay.
go for it.
Mr. Taylor,
I'd like to make a motion to reduce the bottom line number by $11,163.36 by taking advantage of the part-time option that was listed in that particular tab, and the other half being used for the tax collector.
11,163 motion.
I'll approve. So you
I'm
can-
sorry, was that the motion?
Yeah, that was the
11,000?
motion. I will second. Now you go ahead. Explain.
As I said, taking advantage of the part-time option that was listed in the sheet.
Has that been removed from the sheet? I don't see it there anymore.
I did remove it after we had the discussion at the last, the meeting, yeah.
All right. Any discussion from other committee members?
We didn't, the Board of Selectmen didn't endorse this, and the part-time position would still have to go to a warrant article, which is why we didn't approve it. Okay?
So wait, so we currently have, so does this reflects what we currently have staffed, right? Or no?
No, this is adding positions.
So the proposal in summary would be to take the part-time position, the department staff with elected town clerk, tax collector, a full-time deputy town clerk, tax collector, and a part-time clerk. The part-time clerk works 35 hours per week.
Gotcha. Then that makes,
The proposal would be to eliminate that part-time clerk position, reduce the hour, and in turn, create two part-time positions at a lower pay, 20 hours each with no benefits, absolutely no benefits whatsoever. So the board's not taking action on it. I can tell you right now, I don't support the proposal whatsoever in the environment that we're in. Dunkin' Donuts is having a hard time hiring someone at $14, $16 an hour, and they're even offering some benefits and some college tuition and that kind of stuff. To take a position that has this type of responsibility, registering cars, collecting property taxes, significant amount of training so that transaction can go smoothly for the customers, and risk the fact that you spend 3 to 6 months training someone and they're going to move on to the next job that's going to pay them $18 an hour with full-time benefits. I see it going backwards. I don't know of any businesses right now that are proposing to eliminate positions to basic pay with no benefits. It just does not make sense to me.
I agree with you in principle, but for consistency of the past 9 years, I have to argue that a warrant article that would then change the part-time to a full-time would be the way we should go. So I agree that the current hiring environment would require that we take a look at how we fund that. And I want to, but I also have to be consistent with how I voted in the past, and the changes in staffing have to be warrant articles, in my opinion. So I agree with you, and I'd support your warrant article. I can't change it through the budget in my vote.
Is the way it's currently presented, is that staffing changes?
Yeah, the one that's, the part-time clerk now that works 35 hours a week would be reduced to 20 hours a week. And that would effectively end the career of a 27-year employee.
Sorry, I misspoke. Sorry. Is it the way it's currently presented in the budget before Mr. Taylor's amendment? Does that reflect staffing changes?
Yes, no, that's how the staff is now.
Status quo.
Yep.
Okay. The way it's presented. Yeah.
Yep.
So the way it's presented, so
The way it's presented right now, the Board of Selectmen, as recommended.
so we've
is
already made the staff
status quo.
changes.
Yes. No, there
No, we
was
haven't
new
made any
hire.
staff
There was a
changes.
new hire during the year that changed.
Okay.
the
That was,
benefits.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
It wasn't a new hire. It was somebody left, somebody
A full-timer
else
left
was
and another
hired,
full-timer was
and
hired
the
to
benefit
replace it.
package was
Yeah.
different.
Okay, so both
So
both
that's-
positions would have they had the option of the benefit package, and it was just whether they elected to use it.
Yes.
Okay,
Or what they could use of it, yeah.
okay, understood.
Further discussion? All right, we'll vote on the motion to reduce line 4140 by 11,163. Is there a motion?
Well, he already made the
He-
motion.
you-
We made the second. We have to vote on
Oh,
the
that's true. I'm
Motion
sorry.
is
So
seconded.
there's a motion and a second. Now we'll move to vote. We'll
Yep.
do a roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
No.
Ms. Harrison.
No.
Mr. Leary.
No.
I am a no. Ms. Douglas.
I have to say yes.
Yes. Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Stevens.
Say no,
No.
not yet.
Not yet. Mr. Barca. No. Mr. Hayes.
No,
No. All right, this one fails 270. We're back to the original budget of 134,922.
Make a motion to approve as is.
We have a motion to approve 134,922 for line 4140.10. Town clerk, is there a second?
Yes.
We have a second by Ms. Douglas. Motion was made by Mr. Barca. Discussion. Roll call vote, please. Mr. Sun?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Yes. I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Yes. Stevens?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Hayes?
yes,
Yes. Thank you very much. Passes 900.
Next account, 014150-10 is accounting. And let's see here, we're proposing, the Board of Selectmen is proposing $268,502. This budget has a decrease in the amount of $6,226. Again, I think that was driven by some changes in benefits.
150. Sorry, I'm just trying to bring it
Health
up.
insurance.
I make a motion to recommend.
I think I lost my internet connection. Oh no.
Could be.
Hold on.
It's very spotty.
Yeah.
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and this is 268,502.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. Discussion. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. Stevens.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
yes,
All right. Accounting is past 900.
Next account, 014150-20. Information Technology, Board of Selectmen recommended $173,692. This has an increase of $39,864.
Thank you,
So-
Mr. Brown.
I did have a question, and it's not necessarily going to change my opinion. I just for future questions. When we're updating the monitors, it says I think there's what we're doing a few of them. So are we going to introduce like the police cruisers, like a 212, a 5? Like, what is there going to be a plan? Is this going to become a regular expenditure within the budget?
You talking about the
I think so, yes. When it's 2 out of 5. So,
That's the end of these. We did 2 last year, 2 this year, 2 next year, and then we'll go probably 3 with nothing, and then 2 again.
okay, so it's going to be so there will become an ongoing recurring expense. Okay. Just for my clarification. Thank you.
I have a question as well. I guess for Mr. Brunel, is there an opportunity for equipment purchase to come out of this year's budget?
This year's budget. I don't think that, Mr. Brown, is there an opportunity?
Whether that's any of the computer upgrades or any of the monitors for the police department?
It's really a select board decision.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have made some decisions recently with the cost to convert the streetlights to LED. We've done the police department and fire department vehicles. So it's a little early right now to commit to that, but that is something we look at as we get closer to the Thanksgiving time.
Yeah, I think this is on the last year, $15,000 happened. That's how much we did last year. They pre-bought them, so we had to put it back in this year. So.
Okay.
Yeah, my personal philosophy on those things are they should be one-time expenses, not necessarily the things that should be ongoing. Because you pull it out this year, and then next year we're like, oh, why is it back in there? If it's an ongoing expense and recurring, it should stay recurring. If there's an expense that's like, we have a UPS goes down or something, it's a one-time thing, then you should do that because it's
These
a
are
one-time
replacement
hit.
cycles, yeah.
Otherwise, you end up with weird ups and downs, and then people are like, my escrow just went up $2,000. And it's a poor tax collector's got to field those calls. So,
Yeah, there are things that are not considered one time, so if there's an opportunity and the board is willing to do that, that's something we can.
but again, that's my philosophy.
All right. Any motions or other discussion points on IT?
I have a motion
Yes, Mr. Taylor.
to reduce the bottom line number by $4,250.
We have a motion by Mr. Taylor.
I will second. I'd like to. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Hayes can have it.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Taylor and a second by Mr. Hayes. Discussion. Go ahead.
Just specifically around line 740, just the rate of growth is more than I would like to see. And with the fact that that particular budget's up 40,000 this year, I think it should just be a decision of either or on the computer upgrades or the monitors.
Okay. Committee discussion.
Does Mr. Brunel have anything? This is your department. What do you
Those
think?
monitors end of life, are they?
So these are introductions of new technology with this department. So they're replacing older smaller monitors. So there's a workflow that requires a larger surface. That's done one time. That would be a one-time expense. The computers, which is the other item that was mentioned, that's been an ongoing yearly expense we do. We replace 5 computers every year. 60 computers that we cycle through every year. So
So the 4250 is a one-time expense?
He said it much better than I could have.
I think the unfortunate reality is that computers with this chip shortage aren't going to be cheap this year. It's just, and then you can place the order this year, and he might get them by the end of next year.
I think I may have mentioned it. but-
Chairman Cutter, request
Yes, sir.
that anybody talking approach the microphone so that we heard.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Yes, we'll address that right now.
Thank you.
With regards to the expense, the estimate's $975 per computer. I do know it's going to be more like $1,025, $1,030, and the delay is long. I'm still waiting for the computers I ordered last year. So, but yeah, it's definitely a problem. But I'm not going to come back and ask for another $200 per computer. I'm going to deal with it. Stay within that budget.
Okay. All right. Further discussion before calling the vote.
If you had to pick between those monitors and that forms workflow stuff, what would you pick?
To take out.
Yeah.
The monitors are one time. The workflow is going to change a lot of things in the departments.
Hmm.
It's town-wide. It's not just one department.
It's a good question.
So that, again, that is a yearly continued cost.
Yeah.
But it's hopefully will streamline a lot of things.
With this one, if we take out, you might be able to replace it this year if you can find funds.
If I had to take
4250.
something out. Yeah. The PD won't be happy with me, but that's okay.
Okay.
So I guess, hold on. So those monitors that you're want to update that might, what is the life expectancy of those? Is that like a 5-year or 3-year? Like, if we
I
were
would
put-
say 5 years.
Okay.
Most of the monitors in the department are probably 8 years old.
Mhm.
The newer ones are obviously newer, but some of the older ones are 8 to 10 years old.
Right. So next year, we're going to see a cruiser likely in the budget.
Mhm.
So the reality is that if we're going to make this a purchase, it's not a bad year to make the purchase because a cruiser is a lot more than 4,200.
Sure. I like what you're thinking, but still.
He's like, wait a minute, she's not opposed to me this time. I just, like I say, I see ebbs and flows. So I see that next year is going to spike. So the reality is, even if we drop this down significantly, next year is going to hurt even more. So if it's the cost of doing business, it's, it stinks,
Yeah.
but
I think the reality too is we have to look where are opportunities to make cuts, and I think
Mhm.
that was why I asked the question about could it be something that could potentially be
Or-
purchased down the road this year.
could we use any of the funding that's coming from the federal government with regards to pandemic or any other investments that are coming our way potentially to fund these things?
For this, I don't believe so.
Could we be creative in our grant writing?
Yeah. Well, we did a lot last year, but
Right.
now we have the recurring costs in the budget from last
I think
year.
one of the things to think through as we go through the budget and talk about these reductions
Mhm.
is in years past, right? If we get the call wrong,
Right.
I have no problem entertaining a motion before we bottom line vote, adding money back in as
Okay.
has been represented, right? And so if they come back to us at the town and Mr. Burnell, you come back to us and say, you know what? This is really a need and we don't see where we have the budget to cover it. Let's have that debate, but have that debate in December.
I think that's a reasonable compromise.
It's fair.
All right, I'm going to call the vote. So we have the motion on the table is to reduce 4250 out of the IT budget.
Yeah, mic him up so he doesn't have to do that every time.
IT budget 4150. We'll do the roll call vote on the motion.
The motion to amend.
The motion to
reduction.
amend reduction of 4,250. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
No.
No, I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
All right, that one passes 810. We're now at a bottom line for IT of 169,442. Are there additional motions on this budget? If
Motion
not,
to recommend the
fine.
amended number.
we have a motion to recommend 169,442
Second.
as the IT budget. We have a second by Mr. Sun. Motion was made by Ms. Douglas. Any discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on 169,442 for IT. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
No.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca
Yes.
and Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. That passes 810.
It's today's date.
Is the 21st.
Let me get back to my summary. IT. Okay. That brings us to the tax collector. Account number 01-4150-40. This budget is recommended by the Board of Selectmen at $130,869 as an increase of $8,197.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Are there any motions from the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Hayes. Is there a second?
Yes.
We have a yes by Ms. Douglas.
Well, you said, is there a motion to second? Yes, I will second it.
Discussion.
I have a question about the health insurance on this. This is showing an increase still of 6,000. Is that reflective of the decrease that you over?
It's the new deputy clerk position that was hired.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't have said it, but changes in status.
Okay.
That's a better, more comfortable explanation. Change in status.
All right, further discussion on 4150.40. All right, roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
All right, tax collection 4150.40 passes 900.
Next one is revaluation of property. That is account number 014152. Selectmen recommending $27,210.
Motion to approve.
A small increase of $214.
Thank
Second.
you. Mr. Brown, we have a motion by Mr. Sun to approve. We have a second by Mr. Barca. Discussion. Nope.
They can stop. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna go voting backwards tonight, but I don't think I can keep track of that. So we're gonna Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Harrison.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Yes. I am a yes as well.
Yes.
Douglas, Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Barca, Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. That passes 900. Cool.
Just the wrong one. Oh, that's. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, the next one is legal expenses. 01-4153. And Selectmen am I right here? Yeah, okay. Recommending $29,721. It's a $279 decrease. I think next year, about this time, I'll be having glasses on. Oh, a new look next year.
All right. We have legal expenses 4153.10. Bottom line on this budget is 29,721 as presented. Are there any motions?
Motion to reduce.
Wow. We had three at the same time. I heard a motion to reduce, so I'm going to go with that one first.
I'm not sure it's as big as motion to reduce by $4,000.
We have a motion by Ms. Douglas to reduce legal expenses by $4,000. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Second by Mr. Sun.
So in looking at the historical, this would bring it to just over 25,000, 25,721. It looks like the 3-year average is skewed by the 43, almost 44 that we spent in 2018. So 2019, we were 25.6, 2020, 19.6. And if the PFOAs are dead in the water, our numbers should not be approaching 40,000. So it's just readjusting to a more hopefully appropriate 3-year average. That was the basis of my motion anyway.
Yeah. I'm pretty comfortable with this number, the 30,000 or the 29,721, I should say. I know we took a big hit on this one last year, and to see it actually come in at a reduction this year, not increased, is a pleasant surprise. So thank you.
My motion actually would have been for $4,721.
I like round numbers. It makes the math easy.
That's why mine. Just to 25,000
So
even.
we're close.
So if we vote and the 4,000 approves, are you coming back and making another?
Yes, I am. Unless Mr. Hayes is going to go even further.
Oh, boy.
And my number was going to be 30,000 even, but I stuck to the 3-year average.
So you do the 3-year average and then
I don't
round.
I don't like 29,721, but I stuck to the 3-year average.
There's a round function in Excel.
All right. Further discussion on the motion to reduce by 4,000. All right. Roll call vote. Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Ms. Harrison.
No.
Mr. Leary.
No.
I am a no. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Yes. And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay. So the new bottom line, that passes 630. The new bottom line for legal is 25,721.
Right. So the reason I went with that one though is because the 2019 is 25,607. It's still over that one.
I'm afraid to ask this question. Are there any additional motions on legal?
Go ahead.
Nope.
Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion to approve 25,721 as the bottom line.
So moved.
We have
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Hayes, a second by Ms. Douglas. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
No.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca
Yes.
and Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay. 810 is the vote count on legal expenses. The new line is 25,721. And I like to see that it's already updated in there. That's great. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, next
up.
one, Personnel Administration, 01-4155-10. It's a big number, $833,218. Has an increase of $84,868.
There it is. That's on my sheet here. All right. So we have personnel as presented. Are there any motions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So made.
We have a motion by Ms. Douglas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sun. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Ms. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor. Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay. 833-218 is approved for 4155 Personnel Administration by a vote of 9-0-0.
Next one is Planning Board, 01-4191-10. Selectmen recommend $41,940. Represents an increase of $1,374.
Did you say 41,943?
41,940 is what I have.
Wrong years.
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
A whole bunch of it's open.
Yeah, it opened up in 2018 for me.
Yeah, it did.
I think it's open
Way
on
back
his.
to
So
14, yeah.
I did too.
that's the orange one.
Yeah.
Oh, go beyond
got
that.
it. 41,940. Yep, got it.
Somebody
Okay,
like-
so
somebody open
Planning
my
Board,
phones.
41,940. Are there any motions?
Motion to amend.
We have a motion to amend by Mr. Taylor. Go ahead.
Like to amend to decrease that line item by $4,726.
4,726 decrease to Planning Board. Is there a second?
Yes. Second.
Second by Ms. Douglas. Go ahead.
To not call out anything specific, I just feel that there is one line item that is out of whack compared to the rate of other parts of the town. Just trying to get that in line.
But
Yeah, I don't understand that
on the wrist last
description.
time for calling out when it's one specific person. So
Okay, so this is related to 120?
correct.
Okay.
we don't yeah, just go to the line item without calling out any names.
One person.
Oh, is this the
it.
part-time thing or?
Yep. Okay. Further discussion on the motion to reduce by 4,726. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
It's not a union position, right?
No, so this is a part-time position that's 16 hours a week. Currently paid $25.68 an hour. There's a $1,000 longevity stipend included in that number. This employee has been with the town for 34 years. So
Is it currently a 16-hour a week position?
it's 16. It can go. It doesn't normally go
Over the average
16.
of a year, it's about 16. I mean, obviously, there's going to be
It's a
weeks where it's
16-hour
more.
week
and-
position, but it is part-time with very limited benefits. So
No, I guess my question
it
is,
works
we're,
12 hours one week. We
right? So I guess ultimately my question is, we're not adding hours in this budget.
Follow-up question, either Mr. Leary or Mr. Brown, are the longevity stipends, is that something that's board approved there's a set policy on that?
Yes.
it's in the personnel policy based on years of service.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to add to the point, the reason for the reduction has nothing to do with the longevity or the person. It's just at a certain point, there is a certain threshold that I feel I asked Ms. Stevens last meeting if there was any special, degree certification or anything like that for it that would justify that kind of number. I have a hard time then at that point having that high of a number for an administrative assistant when there's people in the town or in the school that are making far less than that. There's a certain point that, longevity doesn't equal value of that position in terms of what the pay is.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move to vote on the motion to reduce by $4,726. We'll start with Mr. Sun, please.
No.
Ms. Harrison?
No.
Mr. Leary?
No.
I am a no. Ms. Douglas?
No.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Stevens?
I'll abstain.
Abstain.
No.
Mr. Barca is a no. And Mr. Hayes?
No.
No. Okay. That fails 171. So we're back to the original bottom line of 41,940.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve
Second.
41,940 by Mr. Barca. Yep, we're going to give the second to Mr. Hayes there. Any further discussion? Okay. I am going to switch the order this time. Just
See if everybody's paying attention.
I'm going to try. It's going to be a lot.
Let's
But
try.
I'm going to start with Mr.
I'm not
Hayes.
going to know when it's my turn now.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
I'll abstain also.
Abstain on that one. Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Harrison.
Yes.
Yes. And Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I did it. That's amazing. 801.
It's all
Cool.
funky.
Well, when there's 9 members, it's a lot to keep track of.
All right. The next line is 01-4191-30, which is the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Okay.
And this budget is recommended at $2,330. There is an increase of $1,464.
Thank you very much. Any motions on Zoning Board 4191?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Ms. Douglas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leary. Discussion? Okay, roll call vote. We're going to start with Mrs. Douglas there now.
Oh, you're really mixing it up. Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison.
Yes.
Yes. Mr.
Yes.
Sun? Yes. All right, 900. I
Mixing it
can
up.
do it. It's amazing.
I thought you skipped over Mr. Taylor.
I know. Bouncing around the room.
There we go.
All right, next up.
Next up is General Government Buildings, account number 01-4194-10. So budget is recommended at $270,506. It's an increase of $19,363.
So I'm not going to entertain, I'm not going to make a motion to add, but I have a question. The line 635 with gas at 275, have we revisited that number or looked at the current futures, or do we think that that number is even close to where we should be anymore?
If I look at what we're paying today, we just hit an all-time high since I've been monitoring it for the past year. We just paid $3.20 a gallon for fuel. I do think that we could all just agree to let's watch this.
Mhm.
And as we get closer to when we finally need to make a final decision, and we all agree that we can come back and revisit this, let's do that then.
Yeah, because I actually had a motion to
Yeah.
more accurately reflect it, but
And
my
the-
concern is whatever I motion now is still going to be insufficient come December.
Yep.
So
I think it's the same argument as we had about 30 minutes ago, right? Let's
Right.
keep it just in the back of our minds. If it's not budgeted right come December, let's revisit it then.
Because the diesel fuel, and I saw our bill today, diesel fuel is $4 a gallon.
I've highlighted those too. So I think that just to your point, I think all of the fuel ones we need to take a look at come December. So just because I know Mrs. Douglas likes to do the reductions, but Mrs. Douglas also wants the budget to reflect the actual expenses. And if the gas prices are going to be way too low, I don't want us to be scrambling elsewhere in the budget to cover something that we should have known was not right to begin with.
Okay,
I
so we're
would
back.
like to request a copy of the invoices for the past 3 months on gasoline.
Invoices for the last 3 months on gasoline. Okay.
Yep, no
Submitted.
problem.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to amend.
Please.
Line 412, like to reduce that by $435.
We have a motion to reduce line 412 by $435.
$35.
Thank you.
I'm intrigued. So second.
Based on what I was reading, and Mr. Brown, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like the increase that Penachuk is going to be passing on is a temporary increase of 15% for the first year, and then it's going to go up from there. And this particular line item had a 18% increase. So the change is just to bring it to 15%. But if something has changed since the notice to the PUC that it's more than a 15% change, please let me know.
No, yeah, so I probably didn't state it very clearly. As Penachuk petitioned for a rate change, I think that petition was right around 22%.
With a temporary, the first year, there were 15.
And then they have, what they do is the PUC, they'll authorize, as you're going through the rate setting process, they will authorize a temporary rate increase. And they have done that at about 15%.
Okay.
And then they will come out with, and I have a feeling that they're going to be pretty close to the rate that they had initially petitioned for.
And then they back
So-
charge it, don't they? They like
And they'll back
retroact
charge
it.
you for it. So
That's always fun.
it's very difficult to really estimate what it is, but there's going to be an increase over what we're currently paying, and I think the amount that I budgeted was conservative estimate of $840.
Should drill our own well.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on the motion to reduce by $435. Mr. Sun?
No.
No. Ms. Harrison?
No.
No. Mr. Leary?
No.
I am a no. Ms. Douglas?
No.
No. Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Stevens?
No.
No. Mr. Barca?
No.
And Mr. Hayes?
No.
Okay. That fails 1-8. Back to
Appreciate the discussion,
270,506. I do appreciate the motion. Absolutely.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve general government facilities, bottom line of 270,506. Is there a second?
Sure. Yes, second.
Motion made by Mr. Leary, second by
With the understanding we'll revisit in December. Yes,
Mr.
second.
Douglas. All right. Further discussion? All right. We're going to start with Mr. Leary this evening.
Yes.
Okay. I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Yes. Mr.
Yes.
Barca? Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Sun?
Yes.
And Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
All right. That passes 9-0-0. I want to make sure everyone feels I'm not picking on them. Sharing the love.
People
Okay.
at home are going to need bingo cards.
It's true.
All right, then the next account is cemeteries. That is 01-4195. Board of Selectmen recommending $13,887, an increase of $97.
Good.
Well,
Thank you very
opening up
much.
That tab. I'm thinking it might be the water.
I heard a motion to approve from Mr. Hayes. Is there a second? We have a second by Mr. Leary. Discussion. No? Mr. Hayes, go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Yes.
We're voting.
We're doing a roll call vote, sir.
There's no discussion on my end. If anybody objects to that, then let's hear a discussion.
Sorry, we're starting the roll call vote with you.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mr. Leary?
Yes.
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 Yes. And yes, that passes 9-0-0.
Am I embarrassed or what?
No, it's all good. It's all good.
He's keeping us on our toes.
You-
Mr. Cutter's fault.
It's good classroom management you've got there.
right.
Keeping everybody
Everyone paying attention.
That's right.
You do an extremely well job remotely like that, Mr. Hayes. You do good. You do well.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks, Troy. Appreciate it.
The next account
Always
is
room for
town.
improvement.
The next account is town insurance at 01-4196. Total amount recommended by the Board of Selectmen, $78,960. It's an increase of $9,273. This is the line we discussed earlier in my memo.
Yeah, this one hurts, but I understand it.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Sun. I will second this one. Discussion.
It's just a bummer.
Okay, we're going to start with Ms. Stevens.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes, please.
And Mr.
Ooh.
Taylor.
Yes.
900.
Looks like I can call someone else. Man, he's really trying to.
I see everyone starting to sweat in the room.
This is terrifying.
Whatever you do, just don't look at it.
It never worked in school.
No, they'll read out loud soon.
All right.
Wear dark colors so you don't stand out.
Okay, the next account is advertising and regional associations. This is account number 01-4197. Recommended amount by the Board of Selectmen, $16,712. Represents an increase of $396. Okay, thank you very much. Any discussion on advertising? I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Leary. Further discussion? Okay, Mr. Sun, go ahead.
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
All right, 900 pass.
Next account is Police Administration. This is 01-4210-10. It is recommended by the Board of Selectmen at $1,800,556. A very large budget with a small increase this year of $5,094.
Okay, thank you very much.
Why is that there?
Any discussion on police?
Motion to amend.
We have a motion by Mr. Taylor. Go ahead.
Like to reduce the bottom line number by $4,500.
$4,500. Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Second for Ms. Douglas. Go ahead.
The reduction would be $2,500 in the line 140 for overtime, and then $2,000 for line 199. As far as the overtime with the new officer coming on board, hopefully they can be a little bit less overtime, and then trying to reduce on the detail side of things. When I look at what we can't control, which is the retirement increase of $50,000+, there needs to be a little bit of give somewhere. As I've mentioned before, it's either pay, there's benefits, or there's stuff. I couldn't find anything as far as stuff to be able to reduce. So overtime was the only item that I could find to be able to help soften the blow of that retirement hit.
So
Okay.
the new officer coming on, they're fully trained, and or do they need to go to the academy and then come on?
So,
Yeah, thank you very much.
so the new officer that we just hired, she is academy trained. However, she does have to undergo an FTO period before she can be released. That can take anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how things go. So with that, yes, we'll have her. And then Officer McDonald is in the academy right now. And when he gets out, he'll have another couple weeks of FTO ahead of him. He already underwent an FTO before going in, but just to make sure that he hasn't gotten rusty while he was in the academy, he's going to have to go through another FTO period, brief one. But I will say that the last couple of years have been tough with regards to not so much overtime, but so much so is time off requests. People haven't been traveling. You know, the officers have been kind of restricted in their time off. So I think it would be I think it would be an error to reduce that line item for that reason, as well as there's something that I wanted to bring to your attention. So I'm kind of glad you guys poked at us. So are you guys familiar with the governor's committee that he put for the law enforcement reform?
Yes.
So one of the mandates that is coming forward, and some of them are staggered throughout the years, But as of January 1st, 2024, we're going to be required to have each officer to maintain their cert. They're going to need 24 hours of additional training. So that means training and overtime are going to go up. So I don't want to see an artificial inflation, later on down the line, not an artificial one, but all of a sudden a huge jump in those line items. Okay. And obviously when you have more officers, to go back to the officers, they take time off. So there's going to be overtime created by them as well. You'll see a reduction maybe, but there's also going to be a net gain when they take time off. All right. And as for, what was it? 199?
Detail.
Oh, the community detail. If you look at the historical on that, we always spend it. And that's stuff with, our basketball games, town parades, community events, those types of things, rather than charging the school or whatever organization is in town. Like if there's somebody having a bake sale or whatever, insert the community organization there. That comes out of that line item. So.
So even with the two new officers, are we at a full staff?
No, we are still short.
Right. So the original argument for the additional officers were when we were fully staffed, then we'd see the reduction.
Yes.
So since we're not fully staffed, we're kind of back to where we were,
Yes.
where we're going to see the offset in additional overtime.
Correct.
That's
Yeah, it's looking back at historical too. 2019 is 110. 2018 is 142,000 in overtime. So
In years past, I've made significant reductions to overtime and
Yeah.
had very lengthy debates with the chief in the department about the rationale why. This year, I think it's pretty flat in my opinion, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty comfortable with it. But entertaining other discussions from the committee.
This is one department that they are always very tight with their money. The budget is always really good, and they're the first ones to try and find areas to cut when the town needs cuts. They're always the first ones to reach back to us and saying, well, we can help you here or whatever. I hate to see it cut further.
Yep. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote to the motion on the table here is to reduce police administration by $4,500. Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
No.
no?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Hayes,
No.
okay. Mr. Sun,
No.
okay. Ms. Harrison?
No.
No. Mr. Leary?
No.
I am also a no. Ms. Douglas?
No.
Mr. Barca?
no.
Okay. So that
That totally
passes,
confused
I'm sorry, that fails 180. Okay. So we're back to the bottom line of 1,800,556 for police administration.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve by Ms. Harrison. I will second. Further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. We'll start with Mrs. Harrison.
Yes.
Okay, I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 900.
I don't think I voted on that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. See, this is the problem. This is the problem.
That's why you don't
This is
do
why
it.
I don't. Done.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone, we're not back yet. 900.
Back to round robin.
Somebody has to write all this down too after listening.
I know, it's true.
I'm just really
True.
confused, Mr. Sullivan.
He's gonna earn his budget this week.
He's going to quit.
All right, next up.
Okay, the next account is Police Department Support. This is account number 01-4210-50.
Yep.
And this is recommended by the Board of Selectmen at $168,188. It's an increase of $2,503.
Okay, discussion on police support, motions.
So made.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Hayes. Is there a second?
I will second.
We have a second by Ms. Douglas. Discussion. Okay, we're gonna keep it easy this time. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca
Yes.
and Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Police support passes 900.
Next account is ambulance, 01-4215-10. Selectmen recommend 70,500. Represents an increase of $1,275.
Motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve line 4215 ambulance, 70,500, and a second by Mr. Leary. The motion was made by Mr. Sun. Discussion. Okay, Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
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 Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca? And Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, ambulance passes 900.
The next account is the fire department. It is account number 01-4220-10. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen at $610,358. This is actually a decrease this year in the amount of $31,759.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any motions on fire 4220?
Motion to
To
approve.
approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Hayes,
I'll second.
a second by Ms. Harrison. Discussion?
No, just again to highlight, since there is fuel in here, we'll just, no matter what we vote tonight, revisit again in December once we have a better understanding of where our fuel's going to land.
Okay, fantastic. We'll do a roll call vote for, starting with Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Okay. Fire Administration, 610-358 passes 900.
The next one is fire hydrants. That is account number 01-4220-90. This one is at the moment recommended at $490,559. It's not showing a change for over last year, but this is one of those ones that I think we will need to revisit again in December as we get closer to getting some.
Just a question. What happens if we don't pay this bill? Well, I'm serious. Are they turning off the water to the hydrants and to the town that supplies them? What happens if we don't pay it?
Well, I think if you don't pay the bill, then I do believe the hydrant would be bagged and turned off by Penachuk.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Our legal fees would.
Your insurance will
Yeah.
go up.
Insurance would go up. But we saving $490,000
The
temporarily.
reality is that the town should just explore other options of eminent domain or like buying them out or what. It's going to be incredibly expensive, but I personally would love to know what the number is because again, or if we could just talk to Manchester, hey, buy it out. You'll make a ton of money considering what we're used to paying. So it's just, to me, there has to be, we have no leverage on this one. And it's so frustrating because it's an outrageous fee that we get charged.
We have no leverage at all across anything with Penachuk.
Even homeowners. Yeah.
Right.
Believe me, I know. For the amount I pay, I shouldn't have to double filter my house, but I do. It's
Okay. So we're going to keep it going tonight, right? I'm going to make a motion to approve, as painful as it is, line 4220.90 hydrants for $490,559. We have a second by Mr. Leary. Discussion?
I'm just going to vote under duress. I don't like it.
Hold your nose. Say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll start with Mr. Hayes this time.
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
And Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Hydrants passes 900.
The next account is code enforcement. That is 01-4241-20. It is recommended by the Board of Selectmen at $94,103. This is an increase of $10,312.
Okay, thank you very much. Any motions on code this evening?
Motion approved.
We have a motion by Mr. Leary. Is there a second?
Sure. Yes, I'll second.
Second by Ms. Douglas. Discussion?
Do have one question.
Please.
Troy, based on line 660, what's the plan there where vehicle maintenance on a vehicle that didn't pass inspection?
60.
Is there?
So,
is there
you know,
going to be
the
an
plan
additional-
is that we're going to be taking the 2018 police cruiser, the Tahoe. We'll have some retrofitting costs and we'll be running that vehicle.
Okay.
So
So
it's going to be coming to us with about 80,000, 85,000 miles. We don't put a lot of miles on it, but yeah, I mean, that's the plan.
So there will be
Well,
vehicle.
There'll be maintenance but we hope to run it for a good another 5-6 years.
Will it get a paint job or is it going to blend in with the rest of the fleet?
I don't know yet.
All right. All right. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All right. We'll do a roll call vote starting with Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Code passes 900.
Next account is emergency management, account number 01-4290-10, recommended at $16,977. No change, no increase.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any motions on emergency management?
Motion approved.
Motion to approve by Mr. Leary. I will second. Further discussion? No? We'll start with Mr. Taylor on this one.
Yes.
Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Mr. Sun?
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
That passes 900.
Thought you were getting gun shy for a while.
Next up.
Next account is road agent, account number 01-4311-10. Road agent is recommended at $26,173, represents a $2,069 increase.
I'm just finding it here on my sheet. Okay, 431110, road agent. Discussion, motions?
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve 4311 road agent. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Leary. Discussion. Okay, Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay, road agent passes 900.
The next account is road maintenance. This is account number 01-4312-10. This amount is recommended at $808,491. There's an increase here of $86,693.
Motion to amend.
Okay, please.
To it.
Speedy, man. Line 571, reduced by $1,000.
We have a motion to amend road maintenance by $1,000.
Which line? I'm sorry.
571.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Taylor.
So looking at the historical data, other than 2018, most of the years fall under $5,000. 2018 is an anomaly, and I seem to recall that being a pretty ugly winter. So just bringing it in line with what I think historical numbers are more likely to be. It's an increase, I believe, this year of 1,600. So I only, kind of not quite split the difference, but took some of it back.
Okay, further discussion?
Under 4,000, sorry, to mine.
All right, we'll vote on the motion to reduce by $1,000 first. We'll start with Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Douglas,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
No.
Mr. Leary.
No.
I am a no on this one. Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Barca,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
and Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 6-3-0.
Motion to amend,
We have another motion to amend on road maintenance. Go ahead.
reduction of $10,000.
We have a reduction of $10,000 proposed. Is there a second?
Second.
For discussion.
Second for discussion?
All right, guys.
Okay, we'll give that to Mr. Hayes. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yep.
The
All
line
right.
660, the $10,000 increase, based on the fact that we are going to have a $45,500 increase in salt purchases. Just too much increase in this particular group. Needed to find an area to cut back that growth.
So one question I would have would be, what drove the 2018 almost $80,000, whereas 2019 and 2020 are significantly lower? So like your 3-year average would be skewed by one higher year if the 2 following years are much lower.
You'd have to go back in history. The message I've and the road agent has been trying to deliver to the budget committee is that we should budget 1,800 tons per year.
I think
And
this
whatever
is-
the tonnage.
This is maintenance.
660.
Vehicle.
I'm not
I
arguing.
thought you were on.
No, I was.
She's offsetting the salt.
Oh.
So
We replaced 2 very old trucks with new trucks. That's why the line is back at $50,000 instead of the one year that it's way up at 78,000.
okay,
So we kept it level.
right, and so okay, so your numbers are more accurately reflective of the 2019, 2020 numbers. All right.
And one other point I'll make as well, we had heard about the new plow truck last year. That was part of the pitch, was to reduce the maintenance cost.
Mhm.
Then meanwhile, I get turned around and get $10,000 more. So if I was pitched last year to reduce maintenance costs by getting newer trucks, and I approve that, and then I get a $10,000 increase in maintenance, I understand that there's, as it was discussed, is a very old vehicle. Maybe it's time to get that one only out in case of an emergency and cut down on the maintenance. But I can't approve a truck to reduce maintenance and then vote for higher maintenance the following year.
Yeah, I don't recall what was stated. I'm sure that when we were talking about buying a new truck, that anytime you bring a new vehicle onto the fleet and you retire a vehicle, you're going to hopefully stabilize or reduce your vehicle maintenance. But I think it's important to understand that the fleet down at the highway department we have made improvements in the last couple of years, but at the same time, we have trucks that have gotten older. And some of those trucks are our bigger trucks, those typical trucks that you see like New Hampshire DOT driving. The trucks that we're running were purchased through the state surplus auction. So those were trucks that were retired from the state because they hit that point where they were expensive to maintain. We've been running them. We have front end loaders, backhoes, they're heavy duty equipment. Anytime something goes wrong, you call Caterpillar, you call
Good Lord.
Freightliner. I don't know, it's $3,000,
And that's if you
anytime something goes wrong.
get the part.
But it's going to be it's going to be a process trying to continue to upgrade the fleet. And don't think for one moment though that fleet maintenance is ever going to go away. Vehicles do not repair themselves, so there will always be a cost to repair heavy equipment that's out there plowing snow, beating against ice, and all kinds of weather conditions. But I'm not
agree with you
going
as
to
far as-
sit here and argue against a reduction with that line if because we understand the salt's up. I totally get it, and I think if we take a look at next year, we see historical data. If it's driving up, or if it's kind of leveling out, I understand. So we're doing it again. The number that we did here was a 3-year average, and
How many new roads or miles of roads have we accepted since the last budget, or are in the process of accepting?
well, we just I don't know how many miles it was, but we did just accept the Weatherstone development and the Firefly will be coming
Right. So
soon.
So in looking at our spend and where we are this year, we've almost spent all of $40,000. There's a small percentage of that left. 2019 we spent 51. 2020 was 46. I think a reduction could be leveraged here. I don't know about 10. I would support half of that because I think that falls more in line with 2019, 2020, and where we are in 2021.
So you can make a motion to amend the amendment, then
Yeah.
we vote on yours, and we vote on his, and then,
Make a motion to amend the amended motion to reduce line 660 by $5,000.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reduce by $5,000. Further discussion?
I'd just say that you can have all the salt in the world that you want, but if the salt machine is broken that spreads it, you're in trouble. You want to get all the highway people out there with buckets throwing them on the roads.
I mean, it means
Wisdom right
you may have to move some things around. I mean, but my bottom line in most of these things is, you know what, we can't just sit here and take, well, sorry, we got a 50K plus retirement that we can't do anything about. Salt is more expensive, fuel is more expensive. At some point, you have to tighten the belt. If the grocery bill at home gets too high, you got to turn down the heat.
And I'll say my point in the reduction is if you look at 2019, 2020, and I'm assuming where we anticipate to end 2021 is going to be around between $40,000 and $45,000 if we do overspend that line a little bit. An increase from 40 to 45 falls in line with those 3 years.
Okay, let's do a vote.
and I just want to say, I recall the discussion being more of we were moving to less CDL driven vehicles than necessarily maintenance. So it was more because we can't get CDL drivers. Moving to different vehicles would open up the pool of available drivers. So perhaps maintenance was an issue, but I think it was more availability and going to the smaller trucks. That's how I recall the discussion anyway. I don't know that maintenance was a driving factor.
Yeah, I mean, I there's no doubt in my mind that anytime if I was to stand before a mic, before any group saying that we want to purchase a new truck because our fleet's old, this will help. I'm sure we talked a lot about the CDL. We talked about the having the wing, the wider plow, the smaller vehicle that can get around the cul-de-sacs. And I'm sure I probably mentioned that it'll help with fleet maintenance. I'm sure it'll be a much more reliable truck than a 15-year-old, 18-year-old truck.
Mm-hmm.
But new trucks do break.
Okay, we have a motion to reduce by 5,000. We'll do a vote, starting with Mr. Sun, please.
Yes.
Ms. Harrison, Mr. Leary.
No.
I am a yes on this one. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 8-1-0.
Do we need to go back and revisit?
The bottom.
That-
Now we need the bottom line.
That's the new motion. So, yeah.
Correct. So right now, with the two motions that we've approved, we are at a bottom line of 802,491.
Motion to approve the amended bottom line.
We have a motion by Ms. Douglas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sun. Further discussion? Okay, Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Doug,
Yeah.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
No.
Yeah, exactly right. I am a yes. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Stevens. Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Barca and Mr. Hayes. Uh-oh, did we lose Mr. Hayes?
It's just on mute.
Yes.
Up they are. Okay, that passes 8-1-0. So just to confirm, the bottom line is 802,491 on that one.
Okay, the next account is Sanitation Administration. That is account number 01-4321-10.
Not street
Do we
lighting.
skip street
Street
lighting?
lighting.
I skipped street lighting.
You want my glasses?
Increase your font
On a
size.
roll there. The next one is street lighting. And that is account number 01-4316-30. And this is recommended at $8,800. It's a reduction of $5,000, a direct result of changing over to the LED streetlights.
I will make a motion to approve street lighting 4316.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sun. Discussion.
No, but thank you for pursuing that project. We've been discussing it for a
Yeah.
while, so thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay, street lighting passes 900.
Okay, now we'll do Sanitation Administration.
Yes, sir.
That is account number 01-4321-10. And the selectmen recommend $478,348. This is an increase of $30,373.
Motion to amend
Okay. go
line
ahead.
120 for the reduction of 4,900.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
It just, that's the reflection of the expanded service, and recommend that if we're going to change the service, that, again, 9 years of consistency here, that it ought to be a warrant article to expand the service. So it's just a change in service that ought to go, in my opinion, to the voters. Not that it's not warranted, it's just the process by which it gets adjusted.
I see. So this is the adjusted hours.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
I even say I would recommend the warrant article. I would rather make the change through the warrant article process than through the budget process.
Okay. Further discussion?
I think it's lovely. The expended hours, so I'm gonna vote against you. Sorry.
Again, it's all about, for me, it's not about, it's about the
No,
process.
I understand you're very principled. but-
Is the changing of hours, is that considered a new position? Or, I mean, just.
It's an expansion of service.
So we've actually, to just, for people to understand, it's actually a little difficult to explain. And it's really gives credit to our staff down at the solid waste facility. What they did was they did increase hours of operation by 6 hours a week.
Mhm.
But they did that with actually less staff. So there were some sacrifices that were made to try to, provide a better service to the residents. That's what they were asking for. So there's less hours being worked during when we used to be able to do some hours when we weren't open to the public. So a lot of the work that we're doing now when we were closed, we're doing while we're open. So there's a lot more work on the staff. We have less staff. And the staff, the backbone of the staff here is part-time employees with absolutely no benefits. So they're pretty flexible. Even though we have our set hours and work schedule, they come and go based on their own personal needs. So, this is, I can't say that the increase here is directly related to the increased hours because we have less staff. We increased some hourly rates of employees that have been with us and trying to be competitive with other similar positions. We've also had employees come and we've had employees go. And every time you have changes, salaries are changing. So every year we take a look at the current staffing, the current rate of pay, and this number will change every single year on you, every year.
Again, it's not that I'm opposed to the idea. I have to stay consistent. That's all.
Okay. Any
Yeah,
other?
and I don't know if that's been a policy at all. I don't recall there ever being increasing hours. I've seen, other departments have some changes in hours and there's no warrant article or anything like that.
Traditionally in town, changes to service and stuff like that, as I recall, have been put forward. So again, it's just a consistent. I've always argued in that favor of that for the last 9 years.
My 2 cents on this one is the select board has the authority and the decision power to make that decision. This is not a new position. It's an expansion of service that was a result of COVID that was well received by the town, and the decision is relatively small dollars for the offset and benefits to the town. To the taxpayers.
And that's fine. Like I say, but I'm going to stake my claim on consistency. I've
Further
always
discussion
argued
on
that.
this one. All right, we'll do a roll call vote on the motion to reduce by $4,900. Mr. Sun?
No.
Ms. Harrison?
No.
Mr. Leary?
No.
I am a no. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
No.
Okay. Ms. Stevens?
No.
Mr. Barca?
No.
Mr. Hayes?
No.
Okay.
Make a motion to amend.
I think I missed up on my count there, but I think that fails 1-8.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Reduction of $10,000.
Okay, we have a reduction of $10,000. Motion by Mr. Taylor. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Second by Ms. Douglas. Go ahead.
Line 693, just reducing that to back to what the 2020 actual expense is based on how we're currently tracking right now. It looks to fall in about that area. And a lot of the discussion we had around the 2020 budget was during COVID when everybody was stuck at home. They were all cleaning out their basements. That is probably going to be mitigating. So based on current trend as far as spend is concerned and probably the reduction in number of cleanouts, reduce the growth at least somewhat.
Is that increase based on number of hauls or cost per haul?
Can I say, I
Yeah,
will
go
say
ahead.
last year with some of our gopher reimbursements that we got, it was for solid waste for all of the increase in hauls and stuff. So you will see that some of that was paid for in that expense. So it really was more than that. We just got reimbursed from FEMA or gopher for it. Sorry.
In addition, I do believe the budget committee did reduce this line last year,
Yes.
a blanket reduction as well. So what you're really seeing here is Dave has, provided the spreadsheet. He's taken a look at his current run rate. He's put together the actuals. I've talked to him about the pandemic and whether we think that's behind us. He doesn't see that at all. He's still seeing, the people that are selling their houses and cleaning stuff out, and then the people that are moving in and generating, all that moving waste. But in general, there's just the traffic and volume down at our facility hasn't changed, and it's just there's no sign whatsoever of it changing.
Yep. Okay. So we have a motion and a second to reduce line 693 of Sanitation Administration by $10,000. Further discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on this one. Mr. Sun?
No.
Okay. Ms. Harrison?
Nope.
Mr. Leary?
No.
I'm a no on this one. Ms. Douglas?
No.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
No.
Mr. Barca?
No.
And Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That fails 270.
Next account is the health department.
Well, we
Okay.
still need to vote on the bottom line of
Bottom line.
478,
Wow.
348.
I'll yield to the chair.
Almost. We're almost there. Are there any motions?
Motion to approve the amended amount.
It's not amended.
A motion to approve the amount. I tried. So motion to approve.
We have a motion by Ms. Douglas, a second by Mr. Leary. Final discussions? Roll call vote, starting with Mr. Sun.
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Okay, that passes 900.
Okay.
I yield my time back to Town Administrator Brown.
The next account is Health Department, 01-4411-10, recommended at $2,085. This is an increase of $55.
Motion to approve?
Second.
627. Okay, we have a motion to approve Health Department, $2,085. It was motioned by Ms. Harrison, second by Mr. Sun. Discussion. Motions. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Ms. Leary? Ms.
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
And Mr. Sun. Okay, passes 900.
Okay. Next account is Mosquito District. It's account number 01-4411-20. Recommended at $28,600. This is a decrease this year in the amount of $3,251.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown. Any motions, discussions?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Taylor. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Leary. Further discussion? Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sun?
Yes.
I am a yes. Back to Mr. Barca?
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
900.
Tricky again.
You're right. Mr. Sullivan's going to love me.
Yeah, he's not going to copy and paste.
Yeah.
The next account is Animal Control, 01-4414-10, recommended at $20,116, represents an increase of $360.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Animal Control. Further discussion,
Motion to approve.
motions? We have a motion by Mr. Hayes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leary. Discussion? Mr. Sun?
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Okay, passes 900.
The next account is health agencies, and there is no amount requested. This will be a warrant article that will be presented to you later. We'll review those. And the next account is vendor payments, which is, it's here because of historical, spend, but we have created a capital reserve fund last year, and that was in the amount of $10,000. I'm pleased to report, as of today, we have not spent any money. So the purpose of that was, the budget committee had recommended it because we were raising money every year and normally not spending it.
Right.
So I can't remember which budget committee member was pushing for the capital reserve fund.
It was a team effort.
Team effort.
Next
Well,
account.
I'm glad you guys were willing to buy into it. So it was definitely absolutely a team effort. So thank you.
Parks and Recreation, account number 01-4520-10, recommended at $91,912. This is an increase of $1,435. We still have not heard from the Rec Commission about the field maintenance contract. So this budget still represents last year's contract amount. So subject to change.
Okay. So one question I have, because I've heard the complaints, with Parks and Rec using, I think, the school more frequently, is there a possibility that the 9443 might be altered a little bit to include another service?
What was it?
I'm just not sure if that's a long-term plan to continue using that field. Parents I've heard have asked.
The GMS field.
Yes.
The problem is you can only use that in the fall. In the spring, it never drains well enough that they have to then push everybody to a sawmill.
I mean, we've always, that's fine. I'm just, if they're going to use it at any point in time, is that something that the Parks and Rec Committee should look at? Just throwing it out there, because I've heard the parent complaints and
There's one.
concerns.
There's one there.
Is there one there?
Yeah,
Because
there's
they,
one.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was
it's
not
just
at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, there is one.
well, it's
The
not in the
portable-
budget, so.
I
Well,
think it's a schools.
School.
so what happened was.
Oh, well, then I'll happily discuss it with the school when it's.
Actually, about 3 years ago, the change was the Rec Commission decided not to pay for that portable toilet.
Mhm.
And because it's a school facility and they decided they're not doing it anymore.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what happened over those 3 years, if they ever put a toilet there or not, but I
There has been in the past, I
think
just,
there's one there now.
traditionally they'd been using Sawmill, but I think they were giving the field a break this year. So I know they spent a lot more time at GMS this year. So I just wasn't sure if that was an ongoing plan. And if it is, should we look at it? That's all.
So it's, as of right now, that's about 3 years ago, it was dropped.
Right.
I'd like to make a motion to amend,
Please.
reduce bottom line budget by $3,320.
$3,320. I will second it for discussion.
Line 443. I think it's time for the Parks and Rec with the amount that field maintenance is going to be going up. It's about time to start pushing back on the leagues to be able to pitch in for the chemical toilet rentals at some of the facilities. Obviously at Roy Memorial, that's a town multi-use facility. That's a different story with some of the other fields. Certainly would not hurt the leagues to go ahead and pitch in on that. And then also the line item 740, reduce that from 320 down to 0. There's no reason why LRBL and pickleball, for example, couldn't pay to replace the nets at the facilities.
Okay. So 3,000 for the toilets and then 320 for 740.
Correct.
Got it. Equipment purchase. All right. Further discussion?
Should you make that two separate amendments versus one, grouping it all together?
I'll group it all as one.
Okay.
Because I would support the toilets, but not the tennis nets.
All right. Then I'll amend.
And I'd support the nets, but not the toilets.
All right, so I'll amend my motion to just $3,000 for line 443.
Second.
So 3,000. What was it?
For the line 443.
443.
443 was the 3,000. Okay. Got it. Further discussion?
And so these costs then would come from fees imposed by leagues, teams, associations using
Yeah.
those fields.
And in the past, leagues did have to pay for it. I know specifically the soccer league used to pay for the chemical toilet rentals, and then it was picked up by the town.
I just know that with the amount that these leagues give back in other ways, from field maintenance to other stuff, that I feel like we're nickel and diming them at that point. So and that's why
What do they get back for field maintenance?
they clean up, they put up the pavilions at the fields. Because didn't the soccer field league put up the pavilions?
I know for a fact that the softball league does all the raking in the infields at the. They don't do anything with the grass, but all the infields.
They
is
have in the
maintained
past
by the
raked
softball
up the
leagues.
playgrounds, which
Yeah.
is why. So,
Yep.
so to me, I feel like there's, we could do this, but then there's less incentive for them to invest in other ways. So, because if I'm going to start paying for everything, well, then you know what? Then you can pay your people to rake the yard, the greens. You can pay to maintain all the other stuff. So, I mean, so I appreciate where you're coming from. I just think in the grand scheme of things that they do give back in other ways.
Yeah, I think I'm all for pay to play and stuff like that too. But I don't know, having toilets at the fields, I think is just something the town needs to do.
I understand the comment about these groups and organizations using the facilities and paying their fair share. And I think it's important that you understand that they're out there. You don't see anything in the Parks and Rec budget about uniforms and umpires and coaches and all the stuff that's involved in trying to run any type of youth sport organization. So typically what you find with these volunteer parks and rec departments is that the rec commission is providing the infrastructure. They're cutting the grass, they're maintaining the fence, the parking lots, they're providing the public toilets. That's sort of, that's a public need for any public facility. And to ask these groups to pitch in towards the toilets, I think you could start seeing them push back on, well, then, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to do that. And it gets into, well, we're not using it. We only use it a month and a half out of the year. And that group's using it a month and a half. And I think that's why you see it captured here as a cost for the town. It's a public facility. We provide the restroom.
Okay.
It's just not a good area, I don't think, to look at when you're trying to get that, pay to play. I think there's other areas for the rec commission to look at than something that's part of the infrastructure of our facilities.
Because my final point is I've seen it in place. I've been involved in 3 different boards for youth programs. I've seen it in place where leagues have had to pay for these types of things and do the coordination, and it worked out just fine. Matter of fact, they ended up with a large surplus that was able to be kicked back as part of Sawmill. So
If I was a president of an organization, and if I was forced to pay for a public toilet at a public park,
I'd start locking
then
it.
I would pay for it for the season that I'm in, and I would be pulled out of there. And then now I don't know what's going to go on for the month and a half. There's no toilet there, but we're waiting around for lacrosse or soccer. I just think it's a bad area to look at. I think it's a public facility and it needs public restrooms.
I think at this point, we should call a vote and just move forward with it and see how it goes.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of puns that we can make with this reduction. Mr. Sun.
And we're voting on.
We're voting on the reduction of
$3,000.
$3,000 to the toilets line
Or for-
for Parks and Rec.
No.
No? Okay. Ms. Harrison?
No.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Yes, I am a no on this one. Ms. Douglas?
No,
No. Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Stevens?
No.
No. Mr. Barca?
No.
Mr. Hayes?
No.
No. Okay, this one fails 270.
I'd like to make another motion to amend
Please.
for line 740, reduction of $320.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Taylor, a second by Mr. Sun, reducing Parks and Rec by $320 in the equipment purchase line. Further discussion?
Is I guess the thinking behind this one that I don't see soccer nets in here or baseball related items is because the tennis courts and the basketball nets are like part of the infrastructure. Is that why those are in here versus soccer nets and
More public
bases
use,
and
more
stuff like
public
that?
use versus leagues.
this covers the ones at Sawmill, the open tennis courts, right? And it also covers the open basketball courts
There.
so they're open for people.
for
that-
everyone to use? Yeah.
Right, so it's kind of hard. If it were the ones like used during a basketball league, perhaps, but when we're getting down to, do I want a kid outside playing basketball or tennis or in front of their Xbox? I think that I'd rather them have the net.
So the basketball league does use the outdoor courts as a summer program.
Yeah,
And
but
then
so do-
pickleball does use the tennis courts
tennis court.
outside.
But so do the kids on a weekend who are, so it gets hard to say, well, you use it 50% and you use it 50% and you can only use it during these, I appreciate the thought process. I just think it gets really difficult to manage.
Are these items that are weathered and torn and require replacement?
Every year.
Yes, every year.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the
yeah.
question. I have.
I mean, if I was part of a group that, if I played tennis and had to buy my own net, I would take it home with me.
And if there weren't a basketball league in town, I would still want to have public nets out.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's just somewhere like a big brother can go or a sister can go while their younger siblings on a swing. It's just,
That's my question is, I have a net and a hoop in my driveway that's the same net for the last 3 years. I haven't replaced it. I just don't use it as much as the league does.
I think that's just this year's equipment purchase. It doesn't, last year it was something else, wasn't it? Wasn't it like bouncing
Yeah,
seats?
So they've identified.
I do
it.
think that these two things are there as an example.
Right.
of
I think it changes.
Some of the type of equipment they were buying.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reduce the equipment purchase line by 320. We'll call the vote. Mr. Sun?
No.
Ms. Harrison?
No.
Mr. Leary?
No.
I am a no.
No,
Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
No.
Stevens?
No.
Mr. Barca? Mr. Hayes?
No.
That fails 1-7.
1-8.
1-8, excuse me.
Oops.
It's getting late.
Picture him as a basketball player. Been a lot of counting.
We're almost
tonight.
there.
We have a motion to approve the budget as presented of $91,912. I will second
With the understanding that they're still missing information, right?
with the understanding, as with other budgets presented this evening for fuel purchases, et cetera, that we will revisit this in December.
Yep. Okay.
Further discussion? Nope. Okay, Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Okay, that passes 900. Good discussion on that one. Next up,
Ready? Library, account number 01-4550-20. Recommended now at $303,177. This is a decrease of $2,276.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, I want
No,
to
you
make
got an
a
amendment,
motion
go
to
ahead.
amend.
Okay.
okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a recommendation to reduce the library budget by $45,000.
We have a motion by Mr. Taylor.
I'll second it for
We
discussion.
have a second by Ms. Douglas. Go ahead.
Reduction as far as staffing costs for the facility.
Okay. Discussion, please.
This one's a tough one. Because I have my personal opinion and then the opinion that I feel like I need to vote. Like, I agree that the library budget is overfunded and overstaffed, but it's also within the purview of the trustees. There's not much to say here. I think we need a longer discussion on the future of the library and whatnot. So
I would agree with that.
I would agree with that as well. My thought process coming into tonight's meeting was to motion to make this $1. Right? I was not anticipating that passing by any stretch of the imagination, but what I was trying to do is open up the conversation amongst the town that we need some type of advisory from the town to inform the committee, right? To inform the town as to what the long-term plan is, right? I think a motion like that sends a message, which is the only reason why I would have done it, but I'm not going to do it.
it might have passed. I really personally struggle with this one in particular. I feel like there should have been significantly more savings as a result of the place hasn't really been open in 18 months. I think when you look at the staffing relative, at least to the library I grew up with, which is primarily staffed by volunteers. So have always felt that the library is overstaffed. It's just, so I really struggle with this budget because I understand that we have a library. That's the history of the thing. This is the way it's done. And I've never agreed with this budget, but there's not much I feel like.
No, we need the townspeople to inform us.
But how do,
And
yeah.
that's
not
a
for the-
discussion
so
for
it's-
Board of
so
Selectmen,
it's-
that's not.
Yeah,
So I
it's
guess
not a
that's
budget
what-
committee decision.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's the question. Like, how do I vote yes on a budget I don't agree with, but I don't know what the alternative is?
Go to the Board of Selectmen meeting and raise the question there. And
Yeah, but
ask
I'm here in a
them.
budget committee and my job is to figure out what the appropriate budget is for this department. So that actually is my job.
Yeah, and just
It's a fine line.
this budget is prepared, given to the selectmen as a courtesy, but it really is the library trustees. They have 100% control over this budget. So as a courtesy, they always come and present to the Board of Selectmen. And it's, the dollar amount is listed in that column, selectmen recommend. They don't take action. They don't take any.
Okay.
Is there any requirement that it actually has to be in the Board of Selectmen budget and not a standalone warrant article?
I think
Because-
I cannot answer that 100%, but on the municipal budget form, that you all sign, it is an account and it's part of that form.
Because I think I would like to know legally whether or not it could be a standalone warrant article.
It's an interesting
Every
idea.
year.
Yeah. Or even at least if it gets voted down, then we know where everybody stands. But if it gets, it's
It
just.
only takes it getting voted out once.
Yeah, because
Right.
no means no. But so it's one of those, because there really is no ability to have much oversight. That's the trustees. I could go to the Board of Selectmen, like you said, that's not the real place to go. But I feel like the way it's set up, the hands are tied. I don't agree that this is the right number. I don't know what the number is, but I'm stuck probably having to vote for it because this is where it is. I don't know. I've always struggled with this budget.
So just to clarify for you, Mrs. Douglas, my specific line item is expense 123, assistant librarian.
Like I said, I've always felt that it was overstaffed.
So you can make your decision and your vote based on if you
I,
think it is assistant
well,
librarian.
based on that, sure. You're right. But I do think we need to have a larger discussion town-wide as to what the appropriate plan of action is.
That's not for tonight. If we expect.
I guess. I agree.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reduce 45,000 to the library budget, which is a reduction in staffing costs. Any final debate before I call the vote?
I just want a point of clarification. The library has not been closed. And I know we'll never agree on this, but the library has not been closed for 18 months.
I am, okay, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that. I could not physically enter the building,
All
therefore it
right,
is
I'm
closed.
calling the vote. Mr. Sun?
No.
No. Okay, Ms. Harrison?
No.
Mr. Leary?
No.
See, it's a tough vote, isn't
This
it?
is a tough vote. I'm going to say no as we need direction from the town. Ms. Douglas?
I do think, I'm gonna say yes, because I do think it's overstaffed.
Okay. Mr.
Yes.
Taylor? Yes. Ms. Stevens?
No.
Mr. Barca?
No.
And Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that fails 360. We're back to the original budget of 303,177.
So I think we can, I'll make a motion to recommend unless anybody wants to amend it again.
Go
But
ahead.
so my motion to approve, but I'd also like to know in the future if in December, my motion would be to remove it from the budget if a warrant article is possible.
Okay.
So, but I'll make a motion to recommend
I'll-
currently.
I can get a legal opinion on that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
We have a motion by Ms. Douglas. Is there a second?
I'll second it without the stipulation.
Second by Mr. Leary. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
No,
Okay. Mr. Taylor,
No.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Barca,
Yes.
and Mr. Hayes.
No.
Okay, that passes 6-3-0.
Okay, the next account is patriotic purposes. It's account number 01-4583-10. Recommended amount is $1,550. This represents no change.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll make a motion to approve patriotic purposes, 4583.
second.
I'll second it.
Either one of them.
I'll give it to Mr. Hayes. Discussion?
Does this include the flags that the veterans group's gonna do?
I believe
Gonna
that
be
purchase is
separate-
going to happen
separately?
this year.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So the
Okay.
veterans are gonna do the flags on 3A.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby Jacques and the group.
They do need a refresh this year.
They do.
Yep.
Mhm.
We get worn in the sun and whatever. Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Okay, Mr.
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Stevens? Mr.
Yes.
Barca? And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Patriotic purposes passes 9-0-0.
The next account is Conservation Commission.
Yes, sir.
Motion to amend.
Okay, we have a motion to amend conservation.
Give the number out.
I make this motion every year. 430, the reduction of 2199.
Okay,
I'll second.
so hold on, you guys are jumping around. All right, so the budget of conservation is 4,000, or what's recommended is 4,215. You are making a motion to reduce by what?
I'm gonna go 2199 to leave $1 in the 430 line item.
430.
2,199.
you said 50.
Okay,
I'm leaving $1, so whatever number that is.
there was a motion. Was there a second to that?
Yes,
Mr. Taylor seconded. Okay, great.
So we discussed last week that there's a sizable conservation commission fund that voters have approved for the use of maintenance and ongoing work. So the funds exist without having to go to the taxpayers to seek them. So it's not that they're not needed. I just believe that there's an alternative funding source available that should be used to fund these purchases.
I think you combine that with one of our esteemed members offered to donate some equipment as well.
Exactly.
And I was going to
Well,
mirror
that's-
exactly what Mrs. Douglas said. Try to reduce it by 21.99. So I agree. That fund is there.
So,
Okay.
point of clarification, is that fund included with or separate from the fund that they have to purchase land in town?
It's all included.
It's all included,
So
okay.
The RSA that was adopted for the Conservation Fund, they can do land acquisition and they can also do maintenance of that land.
Okay.
So
And that
purchasing
includes-
this type of stuff, chainsaws, axes,
Okay,
is considered the maintenance part.
okay.
Have they used any of the money over the past year out of that fund?
They have used it for land purchase.
Okay.
We just recently did a purchase of the Marion Kobe property for just over 100,000, somewhere around there.
Mr. Brown, quick question. I'm not sure if I heard it exactly right on one of the Conservation Commission meetings. Did they have to forfeit some funds because
So-
their balance became too high?
So you probably are going to see a warrant article this year, either the selectmen, or I'm sure the Conservation Commission and selectmen are going to have a conversation about a previous warrant article that was adopted. I don't know if that was by petition or not, but it set a cap of $1 million on the Conservation Fund. The cap was put in place. The language is any funds received above and beyond of the 1 million goes into a holding account, I'll say,
Mhm.
until the next town meeting, and town meeting votes on how to use that fund, those funds. Either it'll go back to the general fund.
So we hit $1 million.
Maybe. What's that?
So they hit $1 million.
They have
Yeah,
a,
they did.
So
they had $1
after
million.
all of this saying we have 800 grand, we have whatever, we have actually hit the million.
We hit $1 million.
I'm very comfortable with my motion.
I think when the $1 million cap was put in place, I don't think anyone ever thought they were going to hit that.
But I'm just thinking for, whatever percentage you're getting on the return can easily cover this. So I'm good.
If you can then at that point forfeit some of your fund into
'Cause
a
you're not
holding
spending it?
fund, I think you can fund the maintenance, and as you mentioned,
I-
that particular fund can be used for maintenance, and as well should be.
I agree with the committee. I would just say before we vote on this one, I'd like to reiterate to the fact to Chairman Lepore and thank him for his hard
Mhm.
work on this committee. I've seen a ton of improvement on that committee and a ton of work done in town, predominantly led and chaired by Mr. Lepore.
It's not a reflection of his work, rather a reflection of where's the right place to use the money.
You got it. Okay, let's call the vote. So this is a motion to reduce 4215 by 2,199.
Is it 4611?
I mean, 430.
Oh, did I have the wrong number? Hold on.
4611, 430.
4611 line 430.
Right, I was talking the total proposed
Oh.
budget of
Oh, okay.
4,215.
Oh, so
Sorry.
similar to an account numbers.
Yeah,
I
four-
assumed. Okay, gotcha.
All right, so we're reducing 4,215 the budget by $2,199.
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
That reduction passes 900. We have a new bottom line of $2,016.
Motion to approve.
I will second. So motion to approve of $2,016 for conservation, made by Mr. Sun, second by Mr. Cutter. Discussion. Roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barca.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Okay. Passes 900.
Okay. The last line item is debt service, 01-4723-10. This is recommended at $237,189. It's a reduction of $26,375, which we talked about earlier, that $25,000 of that reduction is coming from impact fees.
I'll make a motion to approve the debt service.
Second.
Discussion. And just want to confirm the number one more time.
And that includes both the fire station and the tower.
237,189.
The
The
tower's
towers
a
and the
lease
IT.
purchase, and that's in the
the
general
budget.
government
Okay.
line.
Alrighty.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Douglas.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Debt service passes 900. Okay, if I counted right, we just voted on 32 budgets.
Can we go that quickly with the school district budget? That would be great.
I'll do my best.
Question. We reduced more than 81.99, right? I'm just looking at the summary tab. Have you you just haven't updated that yet?
I have not gone through and added them all up.
I was looking at.
No, we were just checking it right now.
Okay.
Should we have to look
I
at
see
revenues
4,000 in legal.
I think those have to be populated on the summary tab, right? Is that
2,199.
On the summary tab?
No,
the only ones that are
some of
the only ones that are
we
showing
only
up
have
are
two of them on the side.
road maintenance and conservation.
I have,
Yeah.
I showed that.
I show IT.
I see legal.
Legal.
I got to go through my notes
IT
and add
and
them all up.
legal.
I don't see legal yet.
Oh, really?
That's weird.
That's
Mine
weird.
has legal.
I'm gonna
I
refresh.
have legal
Yeah,
and
yeah.
IT.
Oh, I refreshed it and it popped up now.
Ah,
Weird.
there we go.
That is weird. It's not more.
Oh, I just
Dynamic.
refreshed too.
Because I was
Okay.
doing it
Yeah.
as we went.
Yeah.
That's why you should use Office 365 and not Google.
No, mine-
do you got?
Slow.
16,448.
The choices
Yep.
between Google and Microsoft, yes, I do.
16,448.
I'm still not in yet.
Google.
Close enough.
I was never good at math.
I'm always like, can you
Right?
just PDF it to me? I don't do Google.
All right.
Just
So we made just over
16,448.
16,000 in reductions this evening on the budgets. Several of these lines we're going to take a re-look at in December due to adjustments in costs anticipated with fuel and other items. I know Town Administrator Brown's also going to look in the library warrant article. Anything else to discuss
We have to look
or
at revenues.
present tonight? Are we going to do revenues tonight, or are we going to do that in December?
Oh,
Last year we did in December.
Yeah.
we did.
good.
Yep.
All done then.
Default budget, December. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
We good
Well
with that?
done, peoples. Well done.
Fantastic. Anything else to cover from the town this evening?
So if I could just ask, is the sheet updated where under the tax cap is still 42,022?
Yeah, that just refreshed.
Accurate?
That's accurate. Yeah.
Yep, that just refreshed. So for those watching at home, with the reductions made this evening, the tax cap, we are under by $42,022 at the moment.
And that factors in your placeholders? Or
No,
no?
there's no
Yeah.
warrant articles added
So-
in this.
Well,
So
there's
just
numbers down
understand, the tax cap is benchmarking against 2021.
here. Okay.
So I've had to make assumptions, pretty close, but until I get the tax rate set,
Right.
things change a little bit. But I feel I'm pretty close.
Shifting gears in our agenda to member input new business.
I do want to just bring to attention, there is the Reimagining GMS session on Tuesday, November 2nd. It's obviously been a big part of our conversations around school facilities committee, but I think our spirited conversation around the library, at least in my opinion, plays into that conversation as well. Our vision for whatever a new school looks like or existing structure looks like, and how that impacts other town facilities.
That's November 2nd. You said.
It is November 2nd. at-
6:30 in the auditorium.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's not. It's at GMS in the gym.
6:30 Gym GMS.
Yep.
Got it.
I'm I'm excited that you're having these conversations. But the planning board also has a meeting that night. So,
Oh, no.
so I'll be there for part of it, but is that going to be recorded?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it will.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Okay,
Um,
any other member input?
I just had one thing. I was going to send an email out, but I'm going to wait until we have the listing for the November 4th and November 8th sessions. So we have the list, the order for the agenda.
Yep.
But we decided to move from the auditorium to the CHS library just because it can still accommodate. We thought about having it here because this room can accommodate all of us now. It's a little bit easier for LCTV and for the acoustics and all that. But it's better than the auditorium for that kind of a meeting. But because of scheduling conflicts with town hall,
Right.
we'll have it at the CHS library and we'll still have the remote capability to zoom in and broadcast and record. But we just thought it would be a better setting than the big open auditorium where we've had issues with the mics and things like that. So it'd be a little bit easier to set up.
And since we're not meeting next Thursday, well done, team. How do we get paper copies of the school budget in advance of those sessions?
I'm not sure how they'll be delivered, but they will be ready
Available.
to you on the second.
So
Yeah.
I know at our last meeting last week, I asked for a note. Shoot me a note if you'd like a paper copy. I heard from 2. So if you'd like a note or if like a paper copy, shoot me a note. Right, I'll consolidate all those requests, send them to Ms. Harrison, and we'll get paper copies available. I'm thinking that if we can get the emailed version of the budgets on November 2nd, the soft copies,
Yeah.
that'd be great. At least
That's the
that
plan.
gets us started for a couple of days to review it. If
Mhm.
everyone's
You should
comfortable
have
with
a
that.
hard copy on the second.
We should have a hard copy, but how do we get it's the point, right? So if
Okay.
we have them available on the 4th, is that sufficient to get the hard copy on the 4th, but the soft copy on the 2nd?
We can do that, but in the past, Corey's gone out and delivered them. So we'll either arrange a pickup at the SAU office or
Okay, either way.
to you somehow for the second.
I
If-
could walk to the
If you want
SAU.
to
I'm
pick it.
perfectly happy to pick it up.
Be attending the GMS session. Could we have them that evening?
That you know.
Second.
On paper. Nice job.
Yeah, I can call him and have him put it outside. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
I mean, is it safe to assume that everybody wants a hard copy?
Yes.
I don't need a hard copy.
No?
Might as well.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
don't want to be
yes,
asking for it later.
yes.
It's nice to be able to write notes in the
Yes.
margins.
Yes.
Deliver them here.
Mr. Hayes, you'd like a hard copy as well?
Yes, I do.
8. So we're gonna need 9 hard copies because
One for
Mr.
each.
Sullivan, the minute taker, wants one too.
All right. 9.
Yep.
Still in member input.
Yes, please.
Just wanted to thank both of you for time, participation, preparedness. It was a very smooth process this year.
Very
Yep.
smooth this
Thank
year.
you.
Thank you.
That's why I wanted to, in closing, I wanted to thank the budget committee. I think this is probably the best process I've had since been here for 6 years. And I think it's a result actually of a lot of hard work from the department heads, the board of selectmen, where we started the budget this year with work that you folks did last year, really going through these line items and finding areas that, could be adjusted. So the process this year, working with experienced, educated budget committee, starting off at a point where I think was real numbers, I think it's made the process a lot easier for everyone involved. And I appreciate it. It's makes it enjoyable to come here and exchange ideas and comments. And again, on behalf of the board of selectmen and all the staff, department heads, thank you very much. I know we still got a lot of work to do, but
Thank you to the
Thank you.
captain and to
Thank
Mr.
you.
Brunel in the audience and for your
Thank you.
participation as well. And I will say in my 9 years of being in this committee, and 8 of those years either being vice chair or chair of this committee, this has been the most seamless process and the least amount of reductions that I can remember. And we've had years where it's been hundreds of thousands of dollars of reductions on the town side, and to come out of this session with $16,000 is really a testament to the hard work of all.
but I think it's the important message has been the last
It has
couple of
been.
yeas of work that's got it to this point where it makes it a little harder now to make additional adjustments, but
We'll find it. Is
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've sat here for 3 years. This, could be my last year here, and this has been by far the best one,
Fantastic.
by far.
I appreciated the spirited debate, and I think it was
Yep.
a lot of good ideas were discussed and it came out from, and it's great that people brought ideas and we were willing to discuss them in a civil and productive manner. So thank you guys.
All right, so I brought up the calendar again just to refer back to. It's a little small. Let me see, Mr. Hayes. Hopefully you can see this on the WebEx. So we had next week as a tentative meeting. We made it through the budgets. We don't need next week. We don't need to meet next week. November 2nd, we just talked about. We'll get the delivery certainly of the soft budget of the school. Hard copies will also be available. We'll figure out pickup locations. On November 4th, which is a Thursday, there's a joint budget school session at the library in CHS.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm confused.
So
That's
what
a very
time does
busy
that one
day.
start?
6:30,
6:30.
and followed by another 6:30 session on Monday, November 8th.
Will the door be unlocked in case I have to arrive closer to 7?
A GMS?
Yeah.
Should be. It's an open
Okay.
community event.
CHS.
CHS.
Oh, wait. Budget committee, CHS, yes.
The Thursday one. I can't make the Monday one. I'm
That's
worried about the Thursday
trip,
one.
the 3 in a row
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me. So that's
Then on November 11th, which is a scheduled Thursday, we would typically meet. That's Veterans Day. We're not meeting. And then we'll pick it up again on November 18th. So we'll be back in this room on November 18th.
Do we want to discuss, it says consider early start time on the 18th.
Yep, that's next. That's the next agenda item. So we have one budget review session to go through the school budget. In years past, it's been 2, right? Because typically we go through section by section of the school budget. And then we also look at it kind of on a tops down approach.
Doing it all in one night.
So one question on this. During those 2 sessions, we will have opportunities to be able to ask questions during that as
I
well.
think that benefits everyone.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
So realistically, then we almost have 3 sessions to be able to ask questions.
That's the idea behind those sessions,
Yep. Yeah.
where, once we get the budget on November 2nd, hopefully we'll have a couple of days to be able to start to document our questions, sit in and listen in on the
Yeah.
questions asked by the school
I
board.
mean, I know in the past that hasn't been a part of the process, but I think if we're all together and we all have questions to ask of the directors, it only makes sense to.
And there was miscommunication last year and the
Right.
fact that
We didn't have the
so
budget.
many people had to be remote
Right.
that, you know what,
Right.
I think it just didn't allow for that kind
Yeah.
of
It did
interaction. But this year we should have no problem.
And this year and last year, we didn't have the budgets. There was a mix up and we never had the
Right.
budgets to be able to review it.
Right.
So
Hopefully it'll be as streamlined as the town process.
hopefully it's as streamlined as the town process. We do have 2 scheduled meetings for voting, right? So we have the review session for one day, 2 scheduled meetings for the voting. Do we want to consider an earlier start time on the 18th for the budget review? This is not a budget voting session. This is a review session.
Review is fine. I mean, the voting, I would have a problem.
Can we move it up 30 minutes to a 6:30 start on the 18th?
That's fine with me.
Right, that gives us a solid 3 hours.
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll plan November 18th for a 6:30 start. The voting will be back at 7 o'clock starting on December 2nd.
Appreciate it.
All right? Any other member input? Hearing none, we'll move into our second public input of the evening. Again, I'm patiently waiting for somebody to come through the door. We'll close public input.
There's a man behind the curtain over there.
Yeah, that's true. And we'll move into adjournment. Is there a motion?
Moved.
So moved by Mr. Leary, second.
Second,
Okay, second by Ms. Douglas. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Sun?
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Barca? And
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
We are adjourned 9:00. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.